Hello. I am live in multiple places. This is so much fun. Hello, Instagram. Hello, LinkedIn. Hello, Facebook. We're doing this all over today. If you are here, if you are watching the replay, please tell me how you are celebrating this day off. I have so much wisdom to bring to my space right now, so I decided that I'm going to work today because I took the weekend off to go practice what I preach and speak on stage and find more people who are speaking on stages. So if you're watching this, please tell me. So what did I just say? How are you? What are you doing on this day off? Is that really what I want to know? I want to know. When was the last time? What was the last time you played? What was it? What was your last method of play? So was it this morning you went out and played with your dog? Was it yesterday you danced around your kitchens and sang a song? Let me know the last time you played. What was it? What was it? Throw that in the comments, whether you're here live or you've got a replay. I did not give a lot of notice for this, so I imagine it's going to be a small audience. So those of you who are new here, my name is Sammy Sadacario, and I am a stage success coach. I help keynote speakers and stage speakers like you who have a purpose, who have a pain they've turned into purpose, create and deliver a show-stopping performance over and over and over again. How do I know how to do this? Who am I? Where did I come from? Those of you who've been paying attention for a while, I come from a musical theater background, which means performing is my entire life. In 2019, after 2 years as a cruise director, a professional public speaker, I left that industry in order to find my authentic voice and to become the most authentic version of myself and find my purpose. Well, turned out my purpose is in changing the world and in guiding leaders who are changing the world to tell their stories better and to do so in a way where they become absolutely contagious leaders. That is the goal here, to help you, a speaker, become an absolutely contagious leader so that people want to follow you. So just so everybody here knows, I'm going to be switching between two cameras because I have one camera. I'm on Instagram and I'm also on LinkedIn on my computer. So how to become an absolutely contagious speaker. There are many ways to go about this. It's all about energy, but the biggest thing that I saw this weekend, I went to an event. It's called Tag Talks Live, and it's basically a pay to play in order to get your speech on video, which is what I wanted. I wanted my speech on video. I want to create my speaker's reel. I have years of me performing and singing, but that's all musical theater. It's not me. It's not my message. So, and I have plenty of videos online, but it's something professional. So what did I do? I paid to play, knowing that people are going to pay me in the future to speak to their audiences and talk about energy, talk about the energy of being on stage, and talk about how to get up on stage and tell people your story without crying, without breaking down, and without putting people off, and also keeping them motivated. And this is why I created these do's and don'ts, because I saw a lot of really impactful stories, but just told in a way that made me shut down and made me go, ooh, I'm a little nervous right now. And why was that? You were triggering my trauma and didn't give me time or space or a method for being empowered at the end. So here's some do's and don'ts of what I learned from this weekend based off of 20 years in the performance industry. At 20 years, I've performed on over 100 stages in my lifetime, and just watching a bunch of really successful speeches, and also doing them myself. So here's 5 do's and don'ts. We're going to start with the don'ts. If you are a stage speaker, if you're a keynote speaker, you most likely had some sort of pain that you overcame, and now you're telling the world about it to empower them and also to make money, right? In order to be asked to come back on stage in order to sell people into your program. So how do you do that in a way that people want to follow you? I call this contagious leadership. One, don't trauma dump. I saw a lot of really wonderful people, and I'm sure wonderful coaches, just telling their trauma the whole weekend, many of which started crying. And it is so okay to cry. We love your vulnerability. And if you're just telling your story without a catharsis, it's a therapy stage rather than an empowerment stage. And I'll talk about what you will do in order to mitigate this. So that leads me to number 2, don't tell us your whole life story. We don't, and just so you all know, you can drop questions. Please drop questions in here so I know how to answer them as we go. Number 2, don't tell us your whole life story. We can't keep up with your whole life story, and actually we don't care. I love you. I do care about you as an audience member. I don't care about your whole life story. I care about how it relates to my story. I want to know what's in it for me. So do you. If you tell your whole life story, no one's going to pay attention. If I tell my whole life story, unless I sing it at them, which makes me I'm really entertaining, but I'm not there to just entertain, right? So if I'm not there to just entertain, I'm not going to give my whole life story unless I'm doing a whole keynote, a whole 45-minute, has certain things in there. Right now we're talking about, let's say you have 10 to 20 minutes, right? Don't tell your whole life story. Tell us one story, maybe 3 stories, 3-story rule. 1 story up to 3 stories. And make sure that they all have the same message. Do not tell us your whole story. Number 3, don't tell us a story that you haven't integrated yet. If you're still on the story loop, of something, unless your point is, hey, this is something that I'm carrying with me and but this is how I work through it, then okay. But for the most part, if you're breaking down on stage, chances you haven't actually integrated it yet. And I'm not saying healed, because we're always healing, right? We're never fully healed. But if I'm telling a story of, right now I'll be vulnerable, I'm dealing with some health issues. So if I go on stage right now and I tell the story of my lifelong health issues, like, I'm going to feel really inauthentic. I'm going to close down. I'm going to have a lot of fear because I haven't fully integrated that yet. That hasn't been something that's catharsis for me yet. I'm still working through it. So if you're still working through something, maybe don't tell it on stage, because you might just start crying because it's a lot, and it's okay. And this is your brand. This is a time for people to get to know you. And you booked this speaking event. The whole point of me and what I do is to help you maximize your ROI. So when you get on stage, you're an absolute showstopper. Everyone wants to work with you. Everyone wants to talk with you. And then people are talking about your speech afterwards. That's the key. What was so cool about my speech this time is I nailed my focus. I loved what I did. Afterwards, people were using the example. I tell the story about a ball of energy. And afterwards, people were taking pictures and saying, oh, hold the ball of energy, hold the ball of energy. That's impact. That is impact. They don't remember all the parts of the story. The key part, they're going to carry that with them and go use that ball of energy moving forward. That's what I want for you. That's why we're doing these do's and don'ts here. So rather than telling us a story you haven't integrated yet, tell us one story that supports your overall message. And the final one of don't stop trying. Don't stop trying. You must keep going. Immediately go book your next speaking event. Immediately go find another one. You did it. It may have gone how you wanted to. It may have not. Go find your next one. Get right back on that course, because this is reps. I've been on over 100 stages in my lifetime. That is not an exaggeration. I've been performing since I'm 8 years old. I have a degree in this. I was a professional actress, stage actress, before I entered the personal development world. This comes from experience and knowing what to do to put on a really great show. And now also, it's a strong copywriting and messaging, and just having a deep understanding for what audiences want in order to feel good. Okay, some do's. What do you do if you're getting on stage and you're putting your pain out there for the world to see and you're turning it into purpose? How do you make sure that you're as successful as possible? One, warm up your voice. Please warm up your voice. Please sing in your car. Why? One, well, you're performing, so make sure you're warmed up for it. And two, this is going to help release energy. Beforehand, people were like, wow, you have so much energy coming off of you. I was like, yeah, I know, because I need to move it before getting on that stage. I'm building up all this energy. And a lot of times people just get right on stage and then they break down on there because they don't know how to move it. As a stage performer, you are controlling the energy of a room. That's your literal job. As a stage speaker, as a keynote speaker, as a TED Talk speaker, it is your job to control the energy of a room. How do you do that? Control your own energy. So warm up your voice beforehand. Go sing. It's going to allow you to move some of the fear, the stage fright. It's also going to calm your nervous system. I have all of my clients create a walk-up playlist. Create the playlist that's going to empower you to be your best self. Mine was pink. One of mine is pink. So raise your glass if you are wrong in all the right ways. That's one of my favorite songs. It's my walk-up song. I sing that beforehand. So I'm getting energy out. I'm dancing, I'm moving, I'm doing the things that's gonna get my energy out. Okay, number 2, do's for telling your pain and putting it into purpose on stage. Breathe. Breathe. This is so fun. I just got to say, I've got these two videos is hysterical. Breathe, 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 breathe. Please breathe. If you don't know how to breathe, please learn to breathe. Please come find me. I will help you learn how to breathe for the stage so people can hear you far and wide, and also so you can keep your nervous system calm and not freak out, and also not lose your breath on stage. Also not go blank. And I'm using a lot of nots, but it's what I see. How, that moment when you're like, what was I saying? What's happening? Where am I going? Chances are you stop breathing. Every time someone forgot what was happening, what their story was on stage, I was like, breathe, 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 breathe. It's there. You stop breathing. That's why this happened. Breathe. Low and slow from your diaphragm, from your belly. Your nervous system will thank you. Number 3, please get to the point. I saw a lot of people who have these really great stories, but I just kept waiting. Okay, what's the point? Okay, so like, what you went through that, and then what happened? Like, get to the point. You don't need to include 100 examples of your health issues. Let's have an example of health issues. We don't need 100 examples of it. We need one story of what happened, and then get to the point and get to the lesson that you learned that you need us to learn. Unless you're this amazing storyteller telling all these stories. But I'm even just becoming a better storyteller. My goal for this speech was to be really good at telling this one story and getting to the point. And I feel like I did that really well. And now I get to learn, okay, what is the point? How do I make that more about my business so that I'm selling from the stage without selling from the stage? So get to the point. Number 4, ask your audience questions. Ask your audience questions. Once again, I know this is harsh, y'all, but I'm being harsh because I love you and I want you to succeed. We don't care about your story. We care about how it makes us feel, and we care about how it relates to us. So ask us questions. Have you ever had a time when you didn't know what was happening with your health and you went far and wide looking for answers and no one showed up for you? If your story is about your health journey and you are a health coach and that's what you're selling, right? That's what your message is. Bring it back into a question. I call this the 11 o'clock number. That's a musical theater term. Bring it back to a question. Ask us questions. Bring us back into your world. It also switches on our awake thing. Assume we're asleep. Assume that we are asleep and you need to bring us back. Assume it. We have very short attention spans. If we're 20, 30-minute speech or all days of speeches, like find a way to wake us up. Once again, your energy controls the room. When you're on stage, they're following you. What kind of contagious energy do you want to have? Cool. Any questions while we're here? I would love to know. Let's see on my LinkedIn page. Any questions? And number 5, plan this. Plan it. Plan it. If you go on stage and wing it, it will not go well for you. I've done it before. It did not go well for me, and I have a lot of experience. Okay? So I created my own formula for how to develop a successful stage speech. I've done it with my clients over and over again. And then knowing I had the speaking event coming up, I was like, all right, I'm going to do what I put my clients through, and we're going to see how it goes. And it was great. We started with what message do I want to give? What message do I want the audience to have? I'm just giving away so much right now, my friends. Please be taking notes. Please be taking notes on this if you have a speech coming up. Please, I'm begging you. I am giving you what I charge a lot of money for. Please. 1, if you have a speaking gig coming up, start with what your audience needs to hear. What message do you want that audience to hear? Step 2, visualize what your audience said to you afterwards. What did they learn from? What did they learn from you? Visualize that. 3, write down 5 stories of your life that show that example. Not tell, show that example. 3 to 5. You're only going to tell 1 to 3, but have the 3 to 5. So you're going, what stories do I want to tell? Write down those stories. Sight, smell, touch, taste, feel, sound. That's what good storytelling is. And then practice it. Practice how it feels in your body to say, and make sure you have a strong closing. Decide what you want the closing to be. Decide how you want to bring them back in, whether that's asking questions, whether that's an 11 o'clock number, as I say, that thing that wakes them up. Decide on your closing. And then don't memorize it, visualize it. That's the biggest thing. I don't memorize my speeches. I'm visualizing what's happening, what's coming out of my heart in order. Not speaking from the heart. It's as if the story's coming out of the heart from my, I stopped breathing, and that's why I lost my train of thought. Going back to my earlier point. I don't memorize, I visualize, speaking from the stories that I know. My stories are my stories. I know what happened. I was there. I can visualize every moment of it. So putting myself in that moment rather than memorizing the words. This is going to be huge for you, especially if your speech is over 15 minutes. If you do this well, you will not need a teleprompter. You will not need cue cards. One of my clients messaged me the other day, and she said, the event planner reached out to me and said, we haven't received your script yet for the teleprompter. And she said, oh, I won't need one. And they were so surprised because she's the only person there that doesn't need it. And she doesn't want to use it because she knows how to visualize, not memorize. So powerful, so powerful. A teleprompter messes me up too. Teleprompter would totally mess me up. Every time I've used a teleprompter on my phone, I'm like, I hate this. I am reading from a page rather than speaking my story that I know is powerful and juicy and yummy and inspiring. Any questions, please put them in the comments. This is your time, my friends. If you're watching the replay, I would love to know, what was your biggest takeaway from this live? What was your biggest takeaway here? Please let me know your biggest takeaway. This is huge stuff, super powerful, really potent. This is the showstopper formula. It's the showstopper formula. All right, and for those of you who are here, I have a very exciting thing for you. I am offering 3 free voice and speech calls in the next week. 3 free voice and speech audits. That's what I meant. Voice and speech audits. So if you have a speech coming up and you have a story to tell, but you're not sure which way to put it, you're not quite sure what your message is for this audience, and you're not really sure if your voice is powerful enough to carry to the end, or any other self-doubts around your voice, book a call. It's 20 minutes. We're going to go through your message and make sure your story matches your message and go through your own pre-speaking formula. And you will leave with that. I'm going to put my Calendly link in the comments. And if at any point, and if you want to book that call, I only do 3 a week. There are 3 free voice and speech audits per week. This is really for people who have a speech coming up. That's what this is for. So if you have a speech or you're teaching a summit, you have something come up and you want to maximize your ROI, you want to get on that stage and make sure that every minute counts, because every minute counts. Every minute counts. Then actually, let's just do it this way. Put speak into the comments and I'll reach out to you and I'll send you my link. Put speak into the comments if you want a voice and speech audit. It's 20 minutes and we'll go through your stuff. I will not pitch you on this call. This is about just making sure, I will ask you for a testimonial, but I will not pitch you on this call. And we're gonna make sure that your message, your story, and your voice are all congruent so you get on that stage and you maximize your ROI. So put speak into the comments and I will get that to you. Any questions about what I taught or this call? Yeah. I will most likely sing at you as well. All right, my friends. I don't see any messages. Speak. Ooh, I would love to know what you have coming up, my darling. That sounds very exciting. And anyone else? I believe anybody else is going to be watching the replay. This replay will be live. We'll be going on YouTube. If you have any questions, you know where to find me.